Lil Tracy used to be a spiritual rapper named Young Bruh. He was also skinny. Fast forward to today, millions of streams later, after being a forefront of a sound on SoundCloud, Lil Tracy's career is at a limbo. But despite the lack of music in the last couple of years, Lil Tracy is still one of my favorite artists. I don't really care what fans of him think of him right now, especially on a subreddit. So in this video, I'm going to talk about how I got into Tracy's music, his evolution, influence, and what he's up to right now. So I first got introduced to Lil Tracy back in 2018, like the very beginning of 8th grade, through Lil Peep, who I was a huge fan of, or maybe even before that, I don't really remember. But what really got me into Lil Tracy was his stuff in 2017 and his music with Goth Boy Clique. I remember listening to a song on the GBC album, She Fell Asleep, with Cold Heart, and thinking it was amazing. I think it was one of the first songs on SoundCloud I ever liked or like had in my likes. I just remember that for some reason. I used to walk somewhere close to my house a lot, and I remember I used to listen to that song like crazy. However, his peers were also making goth rap on SoundCloud, but not all of them could rap as well, and his rap stuff was what really made me a huge fan of his. I remember listening to Wait, Hold Up and thinking that song was so hard, and I also used to be a huge Goth Boy Clique fan in middle school, and I listened to a lot of their music. But with Tracy back then, I really listened to his rap stuff, and I didn't even really like rap that much back then. When I first got into his music, I really liked his project Tracy's Manga. I thought that tape was like the best stuff ever. Wait, Hold Up, Come Again, I'm Rude. To be honest, the whole tape was solid. Some of the songs sounded like they were recorded on a $10 mic. It was also mostly produced by Big Head and Captain Crunch, whose beats were really cool back then. He dropped a bunch of rap stuff back in 2017, and his biggest rap songs were This Year and Pictures. The tapes he dropped were cool too. Back in 2017, Tracy's sound was pretty fire. He could sing well, but also rap, like actually rap at the same time, and definitely one of the better melodic rappers at the time. He worked with a bunch of other underground rappers like Uno the Activist, Doo-Wop Kane, Thousand Man Funny, Diego Money, Lucky. Lil Tracy was actually how I got introduced to Lucky. It might have been Sunset, but I'm 99% it was the song %, featuring Lucky. What I didn't know when I first got into Tracy was that he used to go by Young Bruh and made all types of music under that moniker. So in the very beginning, he was making this really slow psychedelic rap where he was also writing poetry, but that was when he was very young and it didn't last long. Soon after, he started rapping and making emo music. It was kind of what made him Lil Tracy later on. What made Young Bruh so cool was how experimental his stuff was. Some of Tracy's best work was made during that time. Songs like Punk Blunts, Emotion, Soldier Witch's Faith. There were a ton more. Those are some of my favorite songs. Even White Tea, which was made the first day Tracy and Pete met, was when Tracy was still named Young Bruh, and it's still titled Young Bruh on SoundCloud. What's kind of ironic about Young Bruh is part of the time he was Young Bruh, he was really spiritual and was against materialism and basically everything he does right now. Also, he was kind of a hippie, which was a stark difference from the type of person he was in 2017. Recently, and I mean the past couple of years, some of his Young Bruh songs have gotten more attention through TikTok, especially this one song called Uh-Oh, which has 7 million streams on Spotify. A lot of his older music has gotten more popular as well, like Soldier Witch's Faith and Her. I think people on the internet are just attached to the aesthetic he had, the Samsung phone stuff and his Hello Kitty kawaii aesthetic. I don't know though, the music's good as well, of course. It's actually pretty funny how compared to, shoot, I just dropped something. I'm just gonna leave that in. Compared to most of the other rappers on SoundCloud at the time, his music has aged way better than most of theirs. His life is also pretty interesting. Both of his parents are successful musicians. He ran away at a young age to make music. If you want to know the full story, I got 2 other videos on him. His stuff with GBC was also great. He collabed a lot with Macned, Horsehead, Cold Heart. They were all very frequent collaborators of each other back then, especially Macned and Tracy. Songs like Higher Than Me, Goth Boy Clique Is Killing Me, Pictures 2, all really great songs, even their older stuff before. I have a video on Goth Boy Clique as well, but just to give you a gist, GBC came up combining rap and emo, I guess you could say. They'd sample bands and put rap drums on them, and no one was doing it like they were at the time. As a group, they had singers and rappers. Tracy was one of the members that could do both and brought more of the rap element to the group. He was also the youngest out of all of them, other than Lil Peep. Speaking of Lil Peep, Tracy's music with Lil Peep is definitely some of his best, and some of my favorite music from him is his stuff with Peep. They have around 30 songs, and most of Tracy's most popular music on streaming services is his stuff with Lil Peep, due to how large Lil Peep is. I was a really big fan of Lil Peep in middle school too, so I really like their stuff. Out of all their music, my favorite songs are just their random singles like Gods, Giving Girls Coca-Cola, White Wine, Backseat, White Tea. Honestly, they don't have a single bad song together. They were definitely one of the best duos from the SoundCloud era. Ski and X were on their level. Let me know if you think there are any more. I honestly can't think of any. They also have 2 projects together, and it's pretty undeniable they change music. Some of their songs like Witchblades, Your Favorite Dress, Awful Things all have hundreds of millions of streams too, which is crazy. When they were alive, getting those type of numbers was more than a long shot. But although they both were pretty influential, Peep got all the credit, or most of it, and the amount of attention he would receive would destroy their friendship. But for the most part, they were best friends. Tracy got mad at Peep. Peep signed and started to get bigger. He was always the biggest out of everyone in Goth Boy Clique easily, but when he signed his deal, they tried to sign Lil Tracy as well and make him a sidekick, which definitely pissed him off. And then Lil Peep would perform around the world and perform the songs together while Tracy was still in LA. He said some pretty crazy stuff on Twitter, and they fell out months before Lil Peep died. That was another thing about him. He was drugged out like crazy. You could just tell by the way he acted, and that probably made their disagreements a lot worse than they really should have been. Other than beefing with Peep, he was beefing with Lil Yachty, Black Cray, and even XXXTentacion at one point. Now he plays his songs with Peep a lot at his own shows and mourns the death of his friend. The outcome of his music with Peep ended up being that his fan base was split into 2. On one hand, he had a bunch of fans that were there for rap, and then on the other hand, there were fans of his that only liked his emo, Goth Boy Clique, singing stuff. Actually, there are 3, some fans like both, and that definitely became a problem for Tracy later on, or maybe not a problem, just annoying. A lot of Lil Peep fans would disrespect him like crazy. Like, yo, you're that one guy on Witchblades, you're only good on his songs with Peep, you know? So that fan base would want one thing and his rap fan base would want another. Other than that, all his most popular songs on streaming are his stuff with Lil Peep, which he has said is annoying, but I don't really feel bad because he's set for life off of that music. After Lil Peep died, which you could tell affected him greatly, he shaved his head and completely changed up his look. He also got some money as well. But despite the loss going on in his personal life, he continued to drop. He dropped Designer Talk, which was really good. And afterwards, he dropped Sinner, which was also good. 2018 had some pretty big solo singles for him as well. He released Heart, which became one of his largest solo songs. And of course, Like a Farmer, which became a cool song, but also a point of controversy. Like a Farmer originally just dropped as a joke. He made it one night when he was drunk, then dropped it as a joke, and the song blew up. I mean, I can't lie, it's hard as hell. It even got him on Genius and a feature from Lil Uzi Vert. Later on, the song got him into some beef with Lil Nas X. Lil Nas X's Old Town Road was actually inspired by Like a Farmer. And because of that, Tracy was like, he stole my flow, he stole my song, screw him, whatever, you know, and got mad at Lil Nas X at the time. And honestly, it did have a pretty big influence if you think about it from that perspective. Tracy even went on a goth cowboy tour, and who knows, maybe he would have dropped more country-inspired rap if it weren't for Lil Nas X, but whatever. Today, Nas has had way more hits, so you can't really say he was a one-hit wonder that just stole Tracy's swag, to be honest. But he did kind of on that song. I'm pretty sure they're cool now though. After that, he geared up to drop Anarchy, his first real album since 2017, and it was also his best work since 2017 in my opinion, to this day. I remember I was in India for like a month with my grandparents, so I was listening to the snippets, so when the actual album dropped, I kind of heard most of the songs. The album was actually when he signed his distribution deal with Caroline Records, which is now under Universal Music, I believe. My favorite songs from that album are Beautiful Nightmare, Tightrope, and Bad For You. Beautiful Nightmare is his only solo song that shows up in his top music on Spotify. Overall, it's his best album in years, and he still hasn't dropped something as good as it, even though I'm a fan of his rap stuff as well. After that, he dropped Designer Talk 2. This album was also really good. There honestly isn't a single bad song. I really liked it, and he built a decent amount of hype for it from his fans. But that was it, just a hard rap album. It had features from people like Lil Keed, rest in peace, and people like Cold Heart as well. Since then, a lot of his music with Lil Peep dropped on streaming platforms, and I'm guessing he's just financially set now, so he hasn't really dropped music like that. He'll just drop singles on SoundCloud randomly. He did drop a project called Stardust that was cool, but it wasn't that good or anything crazy. Right now, he just formed a group called Vamp Boy Clique with his friends Drippin' So Pretty, Bloody Clip, and High C, and they haven't dropped any music under VBC yet. He just previewed some music. A lot of people thought that VBC was cringe when he first made it. I think Yawns from GBC called him out for making it. He doesn't seem to care, and I don't really care either. He also dropped a collab project with Horsehead, fully produced by Nedarb, which was cool. But what's most interesting about his career is his fans have kind of turned on him after a couple of years of him not dropping music, which is just hilarious to me. He said, "I don't drop music because I hate all of you. I just keep it to listen with my friends. I'll show you some stuff which might explain to you guys why he doesn't drop. I'm not going broke over Designer. Who do I look like? Lil Tracy?" Ever since Tracy dropped Designer Talk 2, I feel like he's fell off so hard. Do you guys like my Lil Tracy tattoo? If you go to the original post where he talks about not wanting to drop music because he hates his fans, they said, he'll start again once the money slows down. On God, bro's gonna start asking for donations again. Tracy is like an E-list celebrity. He has no right to be acting this way. He's a liar, lol. He doesn't care about his music. Hasn't in years and it shows. He's almost 30. No one's asking him to drop music. Bro thinks he's Cardi. So he's kind of just feeding the fire. There's not much else to it. I actually used to check out that subreddit sometimes in like 2018, 19. Then I got banned by some sweaty Reddit Discord mod that lives with his mom. At the end of the day, he has a ton of music, so I don't really care if he never drops again. It's cool. He's almost 30. As far as his influence goes, most of the cringe, emo rap, and mainstream stuff you saw after 2017 when Peep and Tracy had their wave was really because of the underground movement that was happening before that. Juice WRLD was inspired by Tracy, Machine Gun Kelly 100% bit Lil Peep, and definitely liked Lil Tracy. Even SoundCloud rappers who collabed with Tracy like Trippie Redd were fans of Tracy's emo rap. So that's it for this video. He's just chilling right now. Have a nice day and see you next time.